SAP having a 3-layer architecture. The first layer is SAP GUI layer. The second layer is SAP application layer, where the third layer is database layer. Database layer. Total, we have 3 layers. First, GUI stands for graphical user interface. Please make a note of it. Graphical user interface. It will provide that interface to connect the application server. So let's discuss about the purpose of the GUI. The purpose of the GUI is, it is used to connect the application. It is used to connect the application. It creates the user request. So what is the user request? I will tell you. Creates the user request. And it is the mandatory layer to connect the application. It is mandatory. It is mandatory. It provides that interface. It provides the interface. So this is the purpose of GUI. Means it is a mandatory, means without this we cannot connect the application. It creates the user request. It creates the user request. It provides that interface to connect the application. Using the SAP GUI, we will connect to the SAP application. The SAP application is a server. Where database also a server. What is the difference between the server and the where SAP GUI will be there on the client machine? It's a client machine. Where application database are the server machines. So what is the difference between client and server means? Client always asks the question to the server. Client always creates the user request. This is called client server mechanism. It's always creates the user request, URL. Okay. So server always provides the response back to the client. Means it will give the answer back. The answer is nothing but a response. You have created a user request using the GUI. The GUI will send the user request to the application. The user request is nothing but a, you can assume like you are asking some question. For example, this SAP application server is running IRCTC business. Your IRCTC connect application. Anytime anyone is booked the train ticket? Anyone is there? Did anyone book the train ticket before? At least one person. You need to unmute and you need to speak, okay? Feel free to talk in the class. Anyone is booked the train ticket before?
Yes.
How is that, Mauli? How you will book the train ticket, Mauli?
I'll just log in IRCTC website and book that.
Log in into the IRCTC. Okay. Which application is needed to book the train ticket?
There are several applications.
Several applications. Like IRCTC Connect,
yes, IRCTC.
Confirm Ticket, or Google Chrome. Am I right?
Yeah, we can do it in browser.
Yeah, the browser, right? That's the Chrome. Okay, Chrome or Mozilla, some browser. Without this applications or without this browsers, will you able to book the train ticket?
No.
You have the browsers, you have the applications like IRCTC Connect in your mobile, in your laptop. IRCTC server is down. Will you able to book the train ticket?
No.
You have all the applications is installed, but server in maintenance. At the time, can you able to log in?
No.
Whatever the application is installed in your mobile, in your laptop, it is not application. The name is application. It's just a GUI. Example, IRCTC Connect or other several applications, confirm ticket, blah blah blah, Ixigo. Okay, so many. Means whatever the application you have installed in your client machine, it's just a graphical user interface that will provide that interface, that screen to connect the application. It is mandatory. I will accept it. Without this, you cannot connect. But where you will connect, who will receive your request, means the application. The application purpose is receive and execute the user request. The application server is a receiver. He will receive so many user requests from the so many GUIs. Like a GUIs will be multiple. See here one GUI. Maybe I'm connecting from this. Maybe you are connecting from this. Someone else connecting from this GUI. But everyone where it will connect? The same application server. Actually, don't know where is that application server is installed. Where that application server is running, we don't know. Got it? But through the internet, all these user requests are received by one single point. Is an application. Is an application server. So I told you, client server mechanism. Client always sends the user request, where server always receives the request and provide the response. This is called a client server mechanism. Based on this mechanism, we all are sending the user request to the application server. What application server will do? We will provide the response. Response means something you can assume like a answer. Okay, you have asked a question from this station to from Hyderabad to Visakhapatnam on this date. Show me the train list. If I click, just try it from your mobile, try it from my mobile or any one mobile, any one application, where all will get a same train list, right? If we given a same inputs, we'll get same answer or not. If we given same inputs on the IRCTC Connect on the GUI, we will get a same train list or not?
Yes.
Yes, we will get a same. So from where we are getting this means from the database. It is a database storage place. Data stores here. It's a data storage place. So always this application server is connected with this DB to get the data. Total how many layers we have? Anyone?
3 layers.
What is those 3 layers?
SAP GUI and SAP application server and database layer.
Yes, you can say database layer, you can say database server.
Yes, sir.
If you want, you can call it as a tier also. All the names are same. All the names, you can call it as a layer, server, or tier. 3 names. The same way we have a for SAP GUI, we have multiple names. Presentation, layer. Don't call it as a server, you will get a confusion. Tier or SAP GUI, SAP logon, SAP front-end software. Front-end software. Sorry, software for SAP application. These are the multiple names we have. Okay, what is the purpose of SAP GUI? What is the purpose? What is the use and what is the purpose?
To send user request to the server.
To create the user request, to send the user request, to connect the application. Okay, if you don't have one of these front-end software in your laptop or in your mobile, you cannot connect the respective application server. Without iMobile application, I cannot connect the ICICI server to get my bank details. I will ask you one more question. Anyone can respond. I had asked like you have login to the IRCTC with your credentials from your laptop. Whose details you will see? Your details or my details?
My details.
Your details. Very good. This time, please use my mobile, but use your credentials only. This time, whose data you will see?
Your details.
Once again, I'm repeating. Mobile is mine. Credentials are again yours.
Yes, sir. My details. Showing my details.
Your details one is only again. See, means that the mobile level, the client level, the graphical user interface level or first layer level, the no data stores. No data. The data will be there in a centralized place, a common place, a single place, which is the database. The purpose of the database is to store the data, to provide the data. Got it? Whatever the thing we have in our mobiles, it's just a graphical user interface. Okay, it doesn't store any data. The storage place is IRCTC database, ICICI bank database, HDFC database. The client database is there. That layer will store the data. The next question. One more scenario. I given some requirement like a Vizag to Hyderabad, please book a ticket on some X date. Morning 5 o'clock, will you able to book the ticket faster, or morning 11 o'clock, will you able to book the ticket faster?
5 o'clock.
Reason?
Why? Because clients are slow.
You are not audible. Once again, repeat. Why morning 5 o'clock is faster? Reason?
Less show application.
Yeah, someone else, please. You go to mute. You don't have the active internet. So Ganesh. Someone else, please. Morning 5 o'clock is easier and faster to book the ticket, or 11 o'clock? If you don't talk, I don't move forward. Okay, please try to talk. It's a very common questions. It's not a technical questions. Okay. Always feel free to talk. Jayanti, you can also speak. No problem. Yeah. Which time is better and faster?
Five o'clock morning.
Who is that? Apart from the Savaganes, no one is there in the class? He joined today only. What, Anil? Jairam, Mauli? You never booked the train ticket?
Yes.
Which time is better?
When users are less.
Okay, users are less. Okay, any other responses? Which time is better? 5 or 11? Jairam? Shivaganesh, please unmute. Sorry,
Sir.
Shivaramesh. Yeah, which
Yes.
time is better?
5 o'clock.
Reason?
Less users or server is no server issues that time.
Okay. Why no server issue? Any particular reason?
Less people are searching that time, I think.
The less users. The load is very
Yes.
less. The user
Yes,
requests
yes.
are less. Like a user request 1, user request 2, user request 3, and so on. We have a n number of user requests. So these user requests, the people are connecting from the GUIs. This will be the less. On the server, load is less. The users are less. So, like a application is server is there to receive and execute the user request. He will receive, he will execute, he will take all the load. The database, it just stores the data to provide the data. That is the work of database. What's the application server work? Purpose of application server is what? What's the purpose of application server? What's the purpose of application server?
Execute the user request
Receive and execute the user.
and provide the service.
What's the database purpose?
Store the data.
Now the actual matters begins. The technical terminology starts. Okay, you need to focus now more. If you are always in the mute, it's not correct. Okay. Those people no need to join my sessions. You can simply log off now. Okay. I don't need those kind of students. So please concentrate. When you go to the technical level, this is a technical session 1. This is a technical session 1. When you have sent the user request to the application server, you don't know what's happening behind it. You don't know what's happening behind it. There is a dispatcher. Dispatcher is a component. One minute. Someone just left the class. He joined back, I think. Okay. Dispatcher is a component. Dispatcher. He will receive the request. What is the dispatcher work? Dispatcher will receive the user request, keeps the user request in the wait queue. This is a wait queue. Dispatcher work is a technical component in the server level. That technically, the dispatcher is a component who will receive the user request, keeps the user request in the wait queue based on first in first out mechanism. Your user request is allocated to the freely available work process. Work process 0, work process 1, work process 2, and so on. The maximum work process are 600, but I'm just mentioning n. WP means work process. All these are the technical components. Okay, when you're sending, given the source, target, date, click on the show train list. Immediately you are getting a response from the IRCTC database, right? In between, your request will go to the IRCTC application. their dispatcher will receive your request, keeps the request in the wait queue. Based on first in, first out mechanism, your user request will get the work process. Which work process? Highest freely available work process. Freely available work process. Based on first in, first out mechanism. See, first in, first out means the user request 1 will get the first work process. Which work process? For example, WT is the highest freely available work process. Not 0, not in that order. Freely available work process. After that, your user request is cross-checked at user context area. What it will check means whether you are authorized person or not. Authorization check will be happening. Authorization check will be happened here in the user context area. The user context area. Authorization check. Let's keep this in a box. After that, few more checks are there. Those checks like a interpretation checks. Interpretation checks. Screen interpretation. ABAP interpretation. SQL interpretation. At the CPU area. This is called interpretation checks. Authorization check and interpretation checks. If these checks are successful, interpretation means what screens involved in the screen interpretation, what ABAP program check, what SQL query is involved in the SQL interpretation. Once these checks are successful, whether R3 buffer, nothing but a RAM. Either RAM will give the response or the database will give the response back to the user. When the user request is going to the database, with the help of DB client, the request will go. When the user request is communicating with the database, with the help of DB client only, your request will go to the database. So, where R3 buffer having frequently accessed data. R3 buffer having, your database having entire data. Either your buffer will give a response back to the user, or the database anyway having the total data, so it will give the last place, it will give the response. Sometimes your buffer will give the response. RAM. So what is the difference between RAM and database? Means database only having a frequently accessed data, where database having entire data. So I have one small question for you. Your phone having a 2 GB RAM, my phone having a 10 GB RAM. Which phone is faster?
Your phone, sir.
Reason?
Why? Because RAM 10 GB RAM. Difference between RAM.
But your phone having 128 inbuilt, the storage space. My phone having just a 32. Which phone is faster?
Still, your phone is faster, sir. Why?
Still.
Because RAM
Still.
speed.
Why? What is the reason? Anyone?
RAM speed. Your phone is 10
That's
GB.
okay, I will agree. But what is the reason behind? Anyone?
Your phone has a more buffer capacity. So
It having a more buffer. Then what is If it is having a more buffer, how it will be fast? I need the reason. You
So
are
you
saying more
don't need to
RAM
enter
faster.
data.
I will agree. Everyone will agree.
You don't need more enter database. So
We don't need entire data. Okay. Then how it will be
you can
fast?
access frequent. Only the application will run. Whatever the application you need, that the application will run on the RAM.
Okay, good try. Anyone else? Only 2 people are joined today class. Anyone else is there who joined today class? No one is there. It's a very basic question. You can try at least. Not expecting 100% right answers from you. Expect response from you. Okay. So, for example, even you or me, the daily basis, we will use a 10 to 20 applications most. Like I will use Paytm, I will use WhatsApp, I will use some blah blah blah. Might you will use some PUBG, some games related. Might be. But any person mostly they will use some 10 to 20 or 30 applications, right? Based on their uses, if your phone having a capacity to store that frequently accessed data inside the RAM itself, the responses, your questions, like every time you will touch, you will open the application, right? It's like a user request. The user request never goes to the DB. See, your application server itself provide the response. Your application server itself provide the response. If your application server not able to provide the response, so in that case, your request will go to the database, like a storage place. Like a storage place where you have the entire data. I told you, right? You have 128 inbuilt. There you have the entire data, something like SD card. This is something like your phone RAM. Always, first place is the RAM, will provide the response. If RAM doesn't have the data, then only your request will go to the storage level, the database level. If request is going to the database level, so performance will goes down. It needs to contact the another server. The user request again process here, the separate server. So it takes time. Got my point? Understand? Understand?
Sir, let me explain once again, sir, please.
Buffer having only frequently accessed data. You have more RAM, more buffer. If you keep more data here, the request no needs to go to the database. If request is going to the database by crossing the RAM, so it needs to contact the another server. Again, the user request will get processed here. It takes some time to get the data. So that is the reason when you have more RAM, always your request will get answered from your buffer itself. Buffer having that capacity to store the data, but it will store only frequently. For example, in your mobile, you have a 4 GB RAM. Might it's sufficient to store your applications, whatever you are daily using. If you have 2 GB, might is doesn't sufficient to store the data. Your request always will go to the SD card level, storage level, database level. It kills the performance. Got my point?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, applying the same example here, the application server having the buffers. Buffer having a frequently accessed data. The database having the entire data. Okay. The last question. The last explanation. DB client. In first class, I might give the outline. SAP can run with any OS, any DB. Any OS, any DB. The operating systems are like Linux. In the Linux, we have a SUSE Linux. These are the different operating systems names. Don't confuse with RHL Linux. You know, Windows operating system. This is also an operating system. AX operating system. OS 400 is operating. So many operating systems it will support. ZOS, Solaris. The same with databases. Everyone knows the Oracle, at least name. HANA, DB2, Sybase, MaxDB, MS SQL. These are the databases we have in the market. When the database is changed, the DB client will get changed to communicate. What is this DB client? So, one question. You all are from, let's take Tamil Nadu. You everyone. You 7 people from Tamil Nadu. Okay. I know only English. You know only Tamil. How I can communicate with you? Still, I want to teach the SAP Basis to you. How I can communicate with you? Once again, I'm repeating the question. I know only English. I am the application server. Who knows OpenSQL language? You are from the Tamil Nadu. You have your native language, native SQL. Okay, you everyone knows the Tamil only here. You don't know English also. I know only English, OpenSQL. Still, I want to communicate with you. How I can communicate? How I can communicate? Anyone?
Might use Google Translate.
Very good. A translator is needed. So DB client is a translator. Is a translator who will convert the user request language from OpenSQL to native SQL, native SQL to OpenSQL. So when the DB is changed, the translator will get changed. English to Tamil translator is needed, English to Kannada is needed, English to Telugu is needed. Based on your database type, the translator will change. So now I'm concluding the class, gathering all the points. The user request is created by the GUI. Please focus here. Dispatcher will receive the request, keeps the request in the wait queue. Based on first in first out mechanism, it will allocate freely available work process. Execution starts from here. The receive is completed. As part of the execution, authorization check will be happened in the user context area. The interpretation check will be happened in the CPU area. Screen interpretation means screen checking, program checking, ABAP interpretation, SQL query checking in the SQL interpretation. After the successful checks, the request will go to the buffer. Your buffer having only frequently accessed data, the buffer having this user request response, the response is given to the user on the GUI. Closed. If buffer doesn't have the response, with the help of DB client, the request will go to the database, get the response. Get the response. Then give the response to the user on the GUI. See here. Now number is 13. The finally 40. Okay. So this entire response time will be how many seconds it will get completed? 0.6 seconds. Average response time is 600 milliseconds is nothing but a 6.6 seconds. When you have given your inputs on the IRCTC screen, source, destination, class, date, everything you have given, you just click on the submit button. You will get the train list. On an average, how much time it will take means 0.6 seconds. It's a response time. The maximum allowed is max allowed response time is 2000 milliseconds, means 2 seconds. It should not cross the 2 seconds. If it is crossing more than 2 seconds, application server is not working proper. What 11 o'clock will be happen? Because of the huge load, the response time got increased. Server is not working properly. Okay, this is what the SAP architecture, SAP having 3 layers, the purpose and how the application server will receive and execute. Database will store the data and it will provide the data. That's it.